I am so excited. We are just a couple of months away from Magnetic, my women's only live event in Phoenix, Arizona, November 2nd and 3rd. VIP tickets are sold out and general admission spots are flying. Make sure to get your ticket before the prices increase in September. I can't wait to see you at Magnetic. Welcome to your emotional makeover. Things your mother never told you because no one ever told her. I'm your host, Dr. Amanda Hansen. This is where you reimagine womanhood. Let us begin. Can you imagine a world where we all loved ourselves? And it was a moment I will never forget. I felt the most overwhelming, profound love I've ever felt in my entire life. That, once you touch that kind of self-love, you're so damn unstoppable. Hello, my name is Dr. Amanda Hansen, also known as the Midlife Muse. And I want to talk about some of the myths that surround self-love. There's this fear or ideology that if we are to love ourselves too much, if that's even such a thing, that we will then become so full of ourselves, so unrelatable, so egotistical, and not care for others. I think that we spread that message, and by we, I mean the culture in general, that tends towards not wanting women to love themselves too much. Because if you love yourself too much, you will actually start to stand for certain things in relationships. You will not take some of the same things that you have been taking or putting up with. So we create this feeling of don't love yourself too much, because then you might become unrelatable. No one will love you. No one will want you because you'll be too big-headed. That is the story and a lie that we tell to keep women from understanding and seeking self-love. That's also a story that keeps women indebted to everybody but themselves, in service to everyone else. When you think about being selfless and just giving and giving and giving, that's you operating without any sense of who you are, without any self. You're only operating and existing for everybody else's life and satisfaction. I surely know that is no way that I would want to raise my children, to tell them to lose themselves for sake of everyone else. Because what actually breeds in that place is resentment. And I see so many women who move about their lives with this badge of honor that they're so selfless, they give to so many people and do so much for everyone, as if it's something to be really, really proud of. But then secretly, they are suffering because they know there was supposed to be more to life than just being in service to everyone else's dreams. I spent most of my life thinking I had to earn my self-love from the outside, not that I was able to source from within. I really had not understood that concept. I had always heard, like many of us, you have to love yourself before you can love someone else, but I didn't really understand the how. In theory, it sounded great, but I didn't understand, like, how do I love myself? But I remember there was this day, approximately 4 years ago, where the kind of love I had been waiting for was the kind of love that says, oh my gosh, Amanda, I really see you. Oh my gosh, I see your soul. I see the depth of it. And while I have a wonderful husband, amazing kids and friends, nobody could really love me the way I so craved, what I had longed for. And so that day, about 4 years ago, I was in my bathroom. I had just dropped off a Congolese family that we have since adopted and is a big part of our lives. I'd been in the restaurant teaching the little girls English, and I'd been with the mom all day teaching her domestication and how to clean. They'd been living in a refugee camp for many years, living in a tent and not really having understood the actual formalities of how to keep a home. And so I spent the day with all of them, and my heart was so overflowing. I dropped them off at home. I was in the car on the way home, and I went to adjust my rearview mirror, and I caught my own eye in the rearview mirror. And it was a moment I will never forget, because I saw the woman whose heart is so damn big. I saw the woman who's been so misunderstood because people couldn't understand the ways of my heart and the capacity of it. I saw the woman who's been questioned around every corner as to the why she lives her life the way she does. And in that moment, when I was adjusting my rearview mirror, as if the heavens had opened, I felt the most overwhelming, profound love I've ever felt in my entire life. I drove home through so many tears just streaming down my face. And I went into my bathroom to get something. And in that moment, I had this overwhelming feeling like I need to dance. I couldn't stop crying. Like, I need to dance. I need to feel this. I need to capture it. And I set up my phone home by myself, and I danced and I captured it. And I will never forget that moment, that day. It was the day where I was saying to myself, oh my gosh, Amanda, this is what you've always been waiting for. You've been waiting for someone to see inside of your soul without any explanation, without any justification. I saw me. I finally saw me. That was just 4 years ago. I'm going to be 50 next month. It's sad that it took that long, because we don't teach it. If I could say anything, it would be stop searching outside of yourself like I did for so long, for the approval, for someone to tell you, you are so amazing. I thought that's the way that I got to earn love. I didn't realize that I got to live my life and be so enamored by it and so in love with it, and that be enough. And now I live fueled on that love. For my husband to love me is wonderful. It's like a sprinkle on a beautifully iced cake. For my children to think I'm a great mom, a couple more sprinkles. For my friends to love me, for my clients to think I'm amazing, fantastic, even more sprinkles. But even without all of that, I already have created the most gorgeous cake with the most amazing, soulful filling, the most gorgeous, perfectly iced, the way that I like it, the way that works for me, without any explanation to anyone about any of the ingredients, why I built it that way, why I iced it that way, why I decide to do any of it. That, once you touch that kind of self-love, you're so damn unstoppable. There is literally nothing I don't believe I'm capable of. That's what I want for every single woman. I want you to wake up in the morning, and when you go to the mirror to grab for your toothbrush, I want you to see the greatest love of your life. And I'm not talking about physicality. I'm talking about when you make eye contact with yourself in the morning. I want you to see the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. That's how I begin every one of my mornings, in reverence, with deeply held eye contact and presence that says, good morning, beautiful. I love you. You are a goddamn miracle. And so I really believe that as long as we keep sending the message that self-love for women is a way that they will become too big-headed, let's start questioning that. Let's start understanding that our self-love is our revolution. Our self-love is our protection, is our power. That's how I want us to think about our self-love. It's our power. It's our frequency. You no longer depend on bad love or breadcrumbs when you love yourself. If you love yourself, You barely even have to have discussions about boundaries anymore. Boundaries become very crystal clear when you are operating from a place of self-love, because then you'll then look at relationships as to what feels loving, what feels nurturing to your spirit. And from that space, you will begin to decide what you allow in your life or not, without actually having to sit down and set up such rigid boundaries. If you have self-love, that will be the guiding mechanism for who is allowed in your life, who's no longer allowed to participate, who has to show up with a certain level of respect and standard versus no thank you, you're not welcome here anymore. The greatest thing we can teach, which I have never heard taught in a class before, I really think we should be teaching it in preschool and elementary school and beyond every single year, depending on the age, is how to love yourself. Can you imagine a world where we all loved ourselves? Where we all sourced from within? There would be no harming of one another anymore, because we would love ourselves so deeply and so profoundly that we wouldn't want to hurt somebody else from that energy. You know, even in the Bible, when it talks about love your neighbor as yourself, and yet, if we really deconstruct that phrase, if we are walking around not loving ourselves fully, then how in the world are we supposed to love our neighbor? You can only love someone else to the extent that you love yourself. So if you really want to maximize your relationships, your friendships, the way you move in the world, it has to begin with you loving yourself. You can only give and extend true love to the extent to which you give it to yourself first. It is impossible to do it the other way around, because then it has strings attached, it has expectations, it has wanting that same thing back. But when you are so full of love and you're giving from overflow and so freely, you're not waiting for the other person to turn around and pay it back to you. It's a very different energetic from which to live and function from. You know, when we don't teach children how to love themselves, when we teach children that they have to earn everything, they have to earn a trophy, they have to earn certain grades, they have to earn the best soccer team, they have to earn all of the things, they start to understand that they're only lovable when they have earned something, when they have achieved something. So from that place, we are not teaching children how to love themselves, and they then in turn cannot love their peers in the classroom. The level of bullying that happens is because we're not teaching children how to love themselves. When they understand that, all that flows out of them is love for everyone else. One of the greatest things we can do is to be in service to ourselves first and foremost, because through that energy, we are actually overflowing. I know the more that I take care of myself, source from within, and get my needs met, that I am then showing up to be in service from a place of so much joy, so much overflow, because I'm not giving from an empty cup. I'm pouring from a place that's already so full. And quite honestly, I believe that self-love for a woman is her revolution, is her resistance, is her shield for bad relationships, bad behavior. We see the difference when someone gives from self-love and wholeness versus gives from a place of expectation, gives and then is a martyr, gives and then is in resentment. That's how most people are showing up when they're giving and in service, claiming that they love everyone else. Love yourself first, and you will give from so much abundance. Thank you so much for watching this. Subscribe, like, share, and I will see you again soon. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment. I will be sure to get back to you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I would love to hear your feedback. Message me on Instagram or write a review. And of course, if you know a woman who could benefit from this episode, please share it with her, because it can heal her life. And that's what sisters do. Love always, Dr. Amanda.